Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive Pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Pop.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and what can we tell you? It's the Alliance Guys, the Other Alliance Guys, and we're back on the air for episode 30, which we have. Yeah.
30.
Which we have, the wedding episode, which we've entitled By the Power Invested in Me. Yes, we will be talking about the Stevens and Valentine wedding. Please choose which side of the aisle you wish to sit on. My name is Tim. I'm the Alliance Gold now. I have a new name. I'll talk about that later. And I'm with Jeremy. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Good. I survived the wedding last night, so.
Yeah. And the man who survived the wedding live made the trip from Baltimore all the way down to Knoxville and back again today, only to show up here. What was it, half an hour ago? You said you made it home. Yep. It's Dave Scooby. How was it? My friend?
It was an experience. I'm not going to say good or bad, but it was just an experience.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it. Let's acknowledge the chat right off the bat. Willie with the comedic fire. When Tyrus loses the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, he can always rent himself out as a bounce house for little kids' parties. Oh, Willie. Jay's here. Hey, Jay. Jay's going down. There's always somebody in the Alliance family going to something. And Jay's going down to Mexico City for the World is a Vampire contest. He was just saying, so that'll be awesome. We'll have somebody down there. It's not going to be me, as it turns out. I'd like to go. We kind of kicked it around, but I think we'll wait till 75. And Sam Retro's here. Lots of people I see are watching this live. Hey, Sam, good to see you, buddy. So speak up in the chat. We'll get to all your comments as we go through things tonight, like the results from Powerrr Live, which, as we mentioned, Dave Scooby was at and can give us the firsthand account of that episode of Powerrr. We got Championship Wrestling from Jeremy as we look at Memphis Wrestling and the Grind City Rumble.
Yep.
And the first part aired, I guess, from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on the Red Carpet Rumble.
Yes.
Which was also great. And then Scooby is gonna anchor the show by in his fantasy booking segment. He's gonna ask the question about who should wrestle at the World is a Vampire event in Mexico. But guys, something I saw just only today. I'm gonna flap it up onto the screen here. There's I'll go in the middle so you don't have to get covered up, Jeremy. The World is a Vampire Festival going to Australia. The NWA is going to Australia in April.
Interesting.
Yeah, with Jane's Addiction, if you're a fan of that band. I don't know the others. I'm sure you probably know a bunch, Scooby, being as in-depth into music as you are. But, it looks like they're heading down under, and there's going to be wrestling and, the same thing in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
And several cities down in Australia. That's really cool.
I think they said there's either 9 or 10 shows that they're doing over a 15 or 16-day period.
Wow, that's great. It's a good thing we got the Australia flag back on the NWA title post all this. I don't know if you guys have noticed that out there or not yet, but the UK flag is no longer on the
sure isn't
10 pounds of gold. Jay would rather be going to Australia. Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if I could swing that. I'll ask for Luca. Yeah, she says yes, 1,000 times yes. We can go to Australia. It's only like a 12-hour flight.
Something like that.
Yeah. And
Captain Ben.
yeah, and something else worth celebrating today. In one of our favorite NWA personalities made an accomplishment that she announced today. It's May Valentine. It's going on the cover of Playboy. I feel, as a fan of May as a person on social media, I have mixed reactions about this. I'm not sure I'm the guy to buy it, but congratulations to her. She's very excited about it, and yeah, made the cover. So good for me. Anyways, guys, let's why don't we get right into it? We want to just start it off and talk about the live Powerrr show from last night that we all at various points either witnessed or endured. Although I think, Dave, you were saying before the show, you would give as an episode of Powerrr a pretty good overall rating.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a cliche that if it's wrestling and you say there's a wedding or something that really isn't wrestling involved, that there are going to be shenanigans, even if you say there are not going to be shenanigans.
Right.
You're saying there's not going to be shenanigans. There's definitely going to be.
Definitely, yes.
Well, we knew you were going to strenuously object on the top of your lungs, but it looks like, although I know you did that, there were other people who were closer to the microphone, but we'll get into that particular event. Willie says the Gold Coast is the best place in Australia. Yeah, I've never been, but that's what I hear. Jane notes, I didn't even know Playboy was still in print. No, me neither.
Either.
But it's pretty cool for her. I mean, that's a nice feather in her particular cap, I think, from her point of view. So, so I know there was a dark match. Dave, do you remember who was in it? What we did?
I know Gustavo was in it, and then I'm not sure who. There was an actual team that had matching outfits, but they announced them, but they were still working on the speakers. Yeah. So it was cutting in and out. So it wasn't a bad match. I mean, it was one of those things of, okay, let's give the home crowd some local boys to make some noise for and get them warmed up.
Right. I guess I should have started this off a little better than I did, but this is obviously from last night, and it's at the Knoxville Convention Center right there in Knoxville, Tennessee. How was the crowd right at the get-go? Does it look full?
I'd say at least 95%. There were some seats sprinkled in, but they were in the back, so they just had everybody move up, and then they just brought the lights down. And I mean, it was a hot crowd.
Yeah, you could feel it through the screen as well. We'll get to this, Willie, for sure. Sam says, they took a lot of time up with the contract signing and the wedding. There could have been at least 4 additional matches. I know what you're saying, and through part of it, I'm kind of looking at my watch, like, couldn't we be seeing something else? But let's remember, it's an episode of Powerrr.
Yeah,
it's not a pay-per-view. Yeah, I was excited for this, Jeremy. What did you think as you were sitting down for the show?
Overall, and we talked about this before the match or before we went live, and Dave was giving it a 7, possibly an 8 out of 10. And I'm right around there too. Overall, I enjoyed the wrestling that went on. We got an hour roughly of power wrestling, and then it was an hour and 36 minutes long, I believe. So the 36 minutes was roughly the contract signing and the wedding.
Yeah.
So
That sounds about right to me.
yeah, we did get an episode of Power just with some Gaga thrown in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume that they filmed for NWA USA, maybe next week's Power as well. I don't know.
Yes, they did.
Okay, great. That's cool. So,
And
yeah, go ahead.
that they're just basically doing some setups for the pay-per-view. Enough said.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was. I'm not going to say they could have done better, but they could have improved some of the spots that they did. But for going live and just off the cuff, they did a really good job.
I like how careful you're being. You're like, let's be very precise here. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the first of those matches last night was Bully Ray versus Odinson in the no tables match, which essentially meant that if there's no tables, except there were tables. But anyway, this started with an in-ring interview with Odinson. And I don't want to. I know they'll do a much deeper dive tomorrow night on the show, but he was okay. I thought he's got some improvement. He's practiced a bit, or someone's worked with him. There was a nut shot early on in this thing, and a big sell for many minutes by Bully Ray to the low blow. This ends through or gets close to the end after a pretty physical battle with an Asgardian pounce by Odinson and a kick out. And then Odie goes and gets a table from under the ring. And Bully kind of reverses whatever DVD variation Odin's going to do. Sort of choke slams Odie through it and then is disqualified as he goes through the table. And part of this was, if you use a table tonight, the rule is you will be fined heavily and there will be many sanctions put against you. And so now all that's going to happen to Bully Ray. Dave, you made a comment right before we were going on the air about tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a no tables match, I mean, you have your announce table, and then you have your table where the belts go, and you have the ring bell. That's it. I mean, if it's a no tables match, have your referee come out before, look under, and go, "Oh no, we're not going to have this," and pull it out, and have some guys come out and make sure that it's not going to be a tables match. Make it make sense.
Right.
That if you're going to use a table, go after the ring bell table and push everything off, and then throw it in, and then you can have the confrontation.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will say, I've seen Bully, I'd say over 10 times wrestling for all different organizations. People were saying, well, how can he be doing that bad stuff to Tommy over in Impact, and he's coming out here and getting people to chant NWA, and he's a good guy here.
Right.
Well, my friends, welcome to what the territories used to be.
Right.
That if you were in Texas, you could be a good guy. If you were in Tennessee, because you're from Texas, you're a bad guy.
Yep.
Bully Ray, as soon as he came out, I got some good pictures of him.
Yeah.
He started the NWA chant and got everybody going. And the last couple times I've seen him for NWA, he's the first match.
He'll get the crowd pumped up.
He gets the crowd pumped up. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sorry not to cut you off, but he tweeted today, and I know Jay answered it. Connect with the audience, not with your super kick.
Yep.
And you know, Jay responded. Jay Cal responded with like, you know, he's in Impact. He's getting booed for sticking it to Tommy Dreamer, but in the NWA, he's completely beloved. You know, because either way, he connects with that audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did the crowd think of it as an opening match?
There was quite a bit of the people chanting for "get the tables," even though it was a no tables match. But the one thing I did notice, fully sold. It wasn't one of these things of, oh, I just got a nut shot and then a minute later I'm jumping off the top rope. He sold it the whole match.
Yeah.
He got up and he'd lean over and he's like, oh, and he's the complete wrestler, whether you like him or not.
Right.
He knows what he's doing and when to do certain things.
And he sold it on a nice sliding scale, Jeremy, where it kind of went away near the end of the match, but even at the beginning, they were checking him out. Can he continue? And he was like, just ring the goddamn bell, or whatever he says, right?
Yeah.
It was great. And then just 5 minutes later, he's still feeling it, and you know, and a little bit less. What did you think of this thing?
Well, and to speak on that, we're all guys here. I've had a nut. I've been cracked in the nuts before, and that 5 to 10 minutes is about the window that it takes for it to finally subside, and you can, you know, physically go. So I applaud him for taking that nut shot and then jumping right into the business and going like he did, because I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yep.
There's no way. Overall, I enjoyed the match. I like the growth that Odinson showed, both on the mic and in the ring. He opened up his moveset some. I think we only got one Asgardian uppercut throughout the whole match.
A few more than that, but not as many as usual. Good point.
Yeah. So it was good. This isn't the end of it, I don't think. I think we'll see more, and that's a good thing for Odinson to get in there with a seasoned vet that, like Dave said, knows exactly what they're doing, knows when to do this, knows when to slow it down, you know, and can open somebody like Odinson up, and we could probably see him really flourish after this little feud if they do evolve it into that.
Yeah, I didn't love the match, but it was a good way to start the show off, I guess, and didn't make a lot of sense, but I guess maybe it did in a strange. Oh, there's got to be a table involved, but anyway, let's go to a couple of the chat here. Sam, they took up a lot of time. The contract signing and the wedding could have been at least. Oh, I put that up already. I'm sorry. I meant to put this one up, Sam. I did enjoy the show overall and new U.S. Tag Team Champions. Yeah, because the fixers got fixed. And Doty's here, and he said, hello, you darn goo, no gooders. Doty, I've never seen you and Pollo Del Mar in the same room at the same time. Good to see you, Doty. This is awesome, though. Polar Knight's not familiar, but welcome. I love this is a perfect evolution of beard growth. Maybe if I go on the end here, we do it that way. Dave's thicker than mine, and Jeremy's got the whole mountain man look going on. So there we go. That's awesome. Here's Doty, who if you guys aren't in the Alliance Discord, which is a ton of people, Doty really seriously knows his stuff about and especially seemingly around the territory days and even like the later territory days as well. So Dodie says Billy's Australian tour will be multiple days. No idea when the wrestling happens. Had they held all day and all in the intermission, that's where several episodes of wrestling content. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm hopeful that it gives the NWA an international feel, and I'm sure that's what the idea is from Billy and crew. Right, we're all over now. We're out of Atlanta, we're out of Tennessee, and we're in Mexico. Boom, we're in Australia. If we're going through the 10 pounds of gold up here, hey, Canada's got to be in there somewhere, right? That'd be great. Speaking of Pollo and Thrillbilly, they're out next for a segment with Kyle Davis. Basically, Jeremy, they want the national title. What do you think of Thrillbilly and Pollo in this segment?
Our friend of the show, Pollo, she had some major Farrah Fawcett vibes going on last night with the whole Farrah do. I really dug that. And Thrillbilly is that guy is he screams top guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a ball of energy. I love how he can go from 0 to 100 and back to 0 in like 3 seconds flat.
Yeah.
You know, and those two together, they have a really good chemistry with each other. When Kyle turned it over to Pollo and she started talking, as soon as she said I've got 6'6" of yummy honey. And he just started raising his arms up right as she started saying it. And he wasn't paying attention to her or anything.
Yeah.
They naturally work well off of each other.
Yeah, for sure. That guy's seriously money.
Yeah.
He really is. Jay says, wish the World Championship was being defended on these shows. Well, do we know that it won't be? Is that out of the... I mean, Tyrus, I guess because Tyrus, of course, I'm answering my own question. Tyrus probably won't be there, and that probably won't happen, right? Dodie says, Thrillbilly, who doesn't get thrilled with that swinging boss man slam perfect storm?
Right.
It was so good last night. He just nailed it. I thought the second time around, like,
So
he could
pretty.
Yeah, hail, hail, team rock and roll. Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, because we do have Country Gentlemen versus the Fixers for the NWA United States Tag Team titles. This is hometown territory day for the Fixers. They get a big pop from what we see on the screen from the crowd, that I don't think that you would see from the crowd elsewhere, but great for them. As soon as they said, we all kind of suspected what would happen. As soon as they said, all of the Kazanas are here, and Uncle Kazana and Aunt Kazana, and like everybody's watching here tonight. The Fixers are automatically the heels, and they're kind of tweeners at best of times right now. There's a few occasions of miscommunication for the Fixers here. And as I say, the gentlemen are really over. I thought it was fine just being funny, being an old college football fan from out of the U.S. and just north of Alabama, and this is for Roll Tide with the elbow into the throat. I thought that was great. In the end of this thing, basically the gentlemen look like they're going to lose when they go for a finisher and they're unable to do it. With Anthony Andrews in the ring, who, I hate to say it because I can't do what these guys do, but he did not look good. It was not clean. It was not crisp. It looked clunky and bad. But there is a roll-up, basically, anyway. And, the Country Gentlemen go over with a pinfall over the Fixers, new U.S. Tag Team Champions. Jeremy, you're watching this on TV. Did you expect anything different? What did you think of the match?
I didn't expect anything different. I had a strong inkling that the Country Gentlemen were going to walk away. the word nepotism kept coming to mind. But it like you said, the match raised some questions for me. How has AJ only been doing this for a few years and is decent? He's decent, you know. Had he started earlier and he was at this age now in his career, I feel he'd be really good. Anthony Andrews, though, I looked this up on Cage Match, has been doing this for 17 years.
Wow.
Cage Match shows beginning of in-ring career as 12/22 of 2005, and he's the shits. I'm looking at you, Andrew. You're the shits.
Terrible last night. Sam says we knew they were going over just because it was Knoxville's Kazana's. It's their home turf.
I saw everything that he did looked horrible. Yeah. Nothing looked even remotely to connecting, at least through TV. I don't know how it looked live, Dave, but through the TV, he looked horrible.
How'd it look, Dave?
Well, it's one of these things of I'm not sure what they're doing or why they're doing it. But if you've seen the Country Gentlemen wrestle, they've always had some miscommunication, or one's always getting ahead of himself, being Anthony Andrews. And he seems to be the, hey, Spike, let's go. And that's
why he comes out in jeans instead of ring gear.
And it's one of these things of he's always raring to go, and AJ's the one, even though he hasn't been wrestling as long, he's like, hey, let's slow down. Hey, here, tag me in, this and this. Let's go. They work well as a team, but I think what they're showing is just Anthony is just being so anxious to do something. Whether it's a move, whether it's tagging out, whether it's winning title belts.
Yeah.
It's one of these things of, hey, let's get on the same page and let's work together. They work well as a team, but they could be working so much better if they just slowed down. And I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, because I could see AJ going as a national champion down the line. And like you said, Jeremy, if he would have started wrestling earlier in life, he'd already be there.
Yeah.
I could see AJ.
He has the size. He can talk. People, they had tables there with their orange shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And people were just gravitating to them. And just, he was like, yeah, we got shirts, we got pictures. You can buy them, we'll sign them. If you want to just take a picture with your phone, just let us know.
Nice.
They weren't charging for that, but they were gracious.
Yeah.
Before the wrestling started, and then after, they were out there, and people were just eating them up. They were standing there, and they're like, okay, if you want a picture with the belt, this will cost you. We're champions now. Things have changed.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it's still, hey, we're the good old boys, but we've moved up a few notches on the ladder.
Yeah.
We'll still be, hey, you guys, cool. Thank you for supporting us. But the way you can support us is to support us monetarily.
Interesting.
So it's one of these things of okay, this is a good thing. Get them behind you, but also get a little scratch while you're at it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Sam says here that those knees to the face, talking about Anthony Edwards, look weak and sloppy and need some actual wrestling attire.
Yeah.
I mean, jeans aren't built for this kind of stuff. Get like the Lycra jeans, that they would have the stretchiness in them. I don't know, do something like that.
Something, but yeah.
And Doty says he just realized that Anthony Andrews is no stranger with the NWA, as Jeremy pointed out. Probably had seen him at one time.
Yep.
Here's
Rampage, I think. He was part of NWA Rampage. RCW, RPW, I believe also. He's been around for a while, and he's held tag championships in a couple different places.
I figured I assumed that they slapped the Kazana name on him in the same way that Gene Anderson had slapped the Anderson name on Aron when he was, because just to get that regional rub.
Well, let me tell you, Anthony Andrews is definitely no damn Arn Anderson.
Well,
no one will ever refer to him as Double A.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do that in my defense, however.
Oh, I know.
Okay. He's not even CW Anderson. I like CW Anderson. So
he's not even Austin Aries A double.
Yeah, there you go. So
I don't care for him.
Willie points out that the Country Gentlemen are handed the new U.S. Tag Team title belts, the ones that Billy tried to give to the Fixers. Dave, did the Fixers leave with the old belts?
No, they left empty-handed.
Okay. I wondered if there's going to be something moving forward and, where the Fixers keep those old titles or not, and the new belts, and there's some kind of dispute over it that way moving forward. But you might have seen, and I'm not asking. So, damn, I miss CW Anderson and NWA. Yeah, that was fun.
Yep.
He and George South and Colby Carino.
Yep.
Sam says those new belts look quite small. I don't care for anything about those particular belts.
No.
Don't like yellow gold on red straps. The size is weird. That whole Nikita Milkovich style look doesn't come out, and I can't see it in those titles. They look weird. They look like the old NWA Eastern title as well. And I know it's based off the Sheik's title. And anyway, I agree. They do look small, and they do look strange. But so new champs, we get after that the contract signing. So Matt Cardona's out with Mike Knox as his second. Tyrus is out with Black G's. Tyrus, I can't quite figure out sometimes if he's just, told Billy or is being told, do whatever you want out there, whether you're a heel or you're a face. But he kind of has to take the face side here. He just signs it.
Yep.
And there's no delay. And Cardona takes the mic, and with the cheapest of heat, love it. Says, I hate Knoxville. But he wants a death match because he's king of the death match, of course. And G's kind of takes the title, the microphone as Tyrus's, manager, and says, why don't you stop being a little bitch and just sign it? He and Knox kind of get into a little bit. Tyrus makes a good quip about, I might be the talk show champion, but at least I'm not the internet champion, which I thought was neat. But Tyrus does say, in kind of a face-like way, a babyface way, I recognize that I am disputed world champion, that I didn't win the title from you. I won it from, and that you never lost it. So let's do it. Let's go man to man, one-on-one. The crowd's all over Matt. And so G says, okay, how about this? We'll have a 6-man tag tonight where Tyrus will get 2 partners of his choice. you get two partners of your choice, and the winner of that decides the stipulations for Enough Said. And Matt says, that sounds great, except we'll do it next week on Powerrr. And I got to think, Dave, everyone in the crowd had to do what I would be doing if I was there. I'd be like, boo, that it's not here right now. But I guess now that I'm saying that out loud, there are tapings going on. So what did you think from ringside? How did it look?
It could have been shortened up a bit, but I like what they were going after. And it's one of these things of Tyrus just gets to the point. He just speaks his mind and gets to the point. Here, I'm going to sign this, sign it, let's go. This has nothing to do with anything else. Yeah, you can talk all your talk. I'm not the undisputed. Sign it so I can become the undisputed.
Yeah.
If I win, I'm the undisputed. If you win, you're the undisputed. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of these things of you may not like Tyrus the wrestler, but Tyrus the man, he's a cool dude. I haven't talked a lot with him, but I did walk up and thank him for doing what he's done for the NWA and with his podcast, The Three Wise Men. I said, it's one of these things. I said, you didn't have to come out of retirement. He has a cushy job for what he does. He talks for a living.
Right.
But he was given another chance, and I said, I know physically you're not where you want to be. And he sort of chuckled, and he's like, yeah. He goes, none of us, if you're over 40, none of us are where we want to be. But it's one of these things of he's using what he's doing now to help the NWA, even though you may not see it. We can all talk bad that, oh, well, he hasn't defended the belt. He hasn't done this. He hasn't done this. Okay. It's not the NWA that Ric Flair was in the 80s.
Right.
It's totally different. The name is the same, but that's it. I mean, it's almost like taking an old TV show and updating it that, okay, hey, I like the old Quantum Leap, but this new one, it has some Asian guy and he's doing this and this. They tie it together with some names and some things that happened in the past. That's what you have to do. Not everything that was good back in the day, you can't do it the same way now. It has to be changed somehow.
Right. And if you happen to be following me, cheap plug, on Twitter right now, I'm without saying any words really, I'm doing the combined reigns listing right now of number of days spent as champion. And without a title defense, not to dispute anything you're saying, Dave, because you're absolutely right. Tyrus just surpassed like Ronnie Garvin and Ricky Steamboat and the Sheik, he who shall not be named, as 40th on the list overall. He will, I believe, pass Shinya Hashimoto and Raven before Nuff said with 0 title defenses, if there's no title defenses. To be 38th on a list of 50, how many champs are there? 52, 53, something like that. So, yeah, I do get it. He is bringing something though to the NWA, and like Doty says, with that mic skill, it's kind of hard to hate him right now.
Yeah.
Sam's saying to Doty, I hate his in-ring ability, but everything else is a go for me. Not even Roman Reigns is getting 2.5 million viewers on those titles. It's a great
2
point.
titles, yeah.
And I can kind of feel the shift not only in this chat here, but kind of overall with at least the NWA audience and the surrounding uh, independents, people who like the more boutique aspects of wrestling like we do, kind of going, yeah, there's some value here, and I'm glad that that's the case. Willie's a little more cynical. He's the undisputed pie eating champion. That's what Tyre says right now. Jake agrees. It's hard to agrees rather. It is hard to dislike Tyrus. I'm going to get a couple more comments in here. Put Tyrus, Doty says, one-on-one against another big guy. Maybe the match sucks, but who doesn't like a big hoss fight? And what Tyrus is reminding me of, Jeremy, when I'm watching this thing last night, is Trevor Murdoch. He seems like he's playing into that role of, I'm a badass, but like, I will sign this one-on-one and let's go right now. What did you think of the segment?
I was wondering what in the hell Mike Knox was wearing. It looked like a trash bag with fringe and safety pins on it.
Yeah.
Tyrus is the most viewed champion because he has so much area to look at. That's for you, Willie. It was a contract signing. I expected some shenanigans. A brawl didn't break out or anything, but there was still a little gaga to it. It definitely could have been shorter, but
Yeah.
I'm not booking the minutes, so.
Jay was hosted that show last night, a couple hours before this event, saying, he said it kind of is really important that this ends up really well, this live power tonight. And at this point in the show, you've got an okay match with Bully, but Bully has hyped that crowd up really well, to Dave's point. And we have new U.S. Tag Team Champions, whether or not, it was a great match or not. But I think people were ready for new U.S. Tag Team Champions, and right here in the market that they're in right now, it was perfect to blow the roof off that place. And this could have been worse. This contract signing for me, right? It could have been longer. It could have been clunkier. And I thought that Tyrus was one of the reasons that it went as well as it did. Sam says, to answering Doty's big man versus big man. But with Billy being a fan of that 80s Georgia Championship Wrestling, he could do better booking and communication-wise. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And
yeah.
We all agree. DKM's here. I don't have any problems disliking Tyrus. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think for all of us, it's the in-ring ability, and also that we know that he's not going to be booked in title defenses on, whether that's in Independence or on, wherever he might be. It's not going to happen. And he's not good. He's not good in the ring. He can talk, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. We get Kenzie Page, guys, versus Charlotte Renegade. This is Kenzie's hometown. I don't think this was billed on the card, but Kenzie, I thought, looked good and wrestled well. Charlotte's very fun to watch in the ring. She looks pretty polished for a young woman of her. I feel so old right now. A young woman of her young age. She follows through on her lariats. She stacks her pins. She makes it look legit.
Yep.
So in the end of this, Kenzie gets her belt in the ring, and as the ref snatches it from her, she sprays Renegade in the face with some kind of, I don't know, perfume or something like that, blinds her and rolls her up to win. I thought they looked decent. Dave, what did you think?
I thought it was a good match. Robin, her sister, they are the Renegade Twins. I do like at this time that they're splitting up Pretty Empowered and having different matches with Wiley helping them as well. That it's building a story of we won. No, we won.
Right.
We won the singles match. We need a chance at the titles. They're doing a slow burn, but the Renegade Twins, I believe they're from Texas. I know they've worked for Thunder Rosa, and they've also done some stuff with Rodney and Jazz.
Yeah.
As well as, I believe, also Booker T.
Yeah.
Down in Houston.
Yep.
Seeing them interact before the matches with the crowd as they were waiting to get in, they have it. They understand. It's not pandering to the fans. It's just being nice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying hi. It's saying thank you for coming.
Right.
It's one of these things, like they say, no matter where you go, as you're moving up, you'll see some people, and as you're moving down, you'll see some of those same people. It's always be grateful to those around you. These girls have it, both Pretty Empowered and the Renegade Twins. They're all, I believe, under 25 years old. So they've worked some AEW, they've worked Mission Pro, they've worked elsewhere, but this is their chance to actually build on a legacy, that you have two best friends that will do anything for each other, and then you have twin sisters that will do anything for each other. Hopefully the storyline goes blood is thicker than water, and down the line you do see the Renegade Twins win, but it has to be at the right place, the right time.
Yep. Yeah. Willie says they could be the next NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions. Sam certainly hopes that they will be, and is glad that they're back. Just back a second before we talk about this part, Jeremy. DKM saying, talking about Tyrus just a second ago, a lot of people just trying to make the best out of it. And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And notes of the show was solid. Yeah. And it really was overall, as we'll see moving along. This match was solid. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was a quick match, but Charlotte came out looking strong, I feel, by the whole getting sprayed in the eyes. She didn't lose. She wasn't devalued in that loss. This is another one that I don't think this is the last that we'll see of the Renegade Twins and Pretty Empowered, and I'm looking forward to it. They're a very good addition to the roster. So I really enjoyed this match a lot.
Yeah. And it is some very traditional storytelling. And you got two tag teams here that you can break up and extend this out and build something up. Neither one of them really lose anything, if on a loss on either side. In a singles match, I mean, right?
Yeah.
So it just fuels the grudge between them. She gets sprayed in the face and rolled up, and that's it. Now, this is going to lead to some tag team action for the titles down the road. It was good. I enjoyed the match as well. We get Tom Latimer and Camille out with Kyle Davis. Was Latimer wearing a Kerry Morton t-shirt? So it looked like a future legend.
I think he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good for him. We hear that Psycho Love aren't here because of travel issues, and Camille says it's because they're scared and they're wimps. And I'm like, okay, I thought Camille was, again, I thought she was a face. Why are they? I don't know. Maybe it's the whole tweener issue that Tyrus is doing that she's pulling off as well. But then Psycho Love, that's Fodder and Angelina Love, are out of the back and attack them from behind. A kendo stick is employed. Love chokes Camille for a while with the kendo stick. Fodder drills Latimer down. There's a Botox injection in the ring from Angelina Love to Camille. There's no match. to speak of at all. Were you disappointed in that, Dave, or did you enjoy the segment?
Well, it's one of these things of you have a new mixed tag idea being floated out there that I'm not sure I heard some rumblings before that, hey, there's a possibility of some mixed tags.
Yeah.
Well, does that mean that there's going to be a belt? Does that mean there's going to be I don't know, a mixed tag necklace? Is it going to be
That right there.
a single belt that they share? So it's one of these things. I'm looking at it. It's getting more people, more wrestlers out in front of an audience. If you're doing a mixed tag match, it's 4 instead of 2. It's one of these things of they have to find a way to build people up without knocking everybody else down. Tom and Camille didn't lose anything because there was a kendo stick involved. If that kendo stick wasn't there, do you think they would have taken the ass whooping? No.
No.
But when you bring a foreign object, something that's not supposed to be in the match or in a fight, it knocks them down. Now it's telling a story of, okay, now we have a reason to actually fight these people. That
Right.
Before it was just, hey, we want to tag a mixed tag match. Well, why? You've already lost a chance at the belt.
Yeah.
What do you have to prove? I
You
think
know-
they did the right thing in not having an actual match and just doing the attack angle, because it builds, hey, here's your story. If enough said, you're not having have Camille, she can either defend her title or defend her honor, or she can do both if need be.
To talk about that storytelling point, James Bell, hey James, says Fodder had tweeted their flight had been Monday night and Tuesday morning. So I gather that they were delayed, setting up for the run-in. So that kind of helps the storyline, tweeting that online. DK says, I guess they had to try and do something to make this mixed tag interesting, but it doesn't work for me.
No.
I am not a fan of mixed tag. I don't want to sound sexist in any way, but in the same way, I'm not a fan of, women's hockey or, I'm not honestly a huge fan of women's wrestling. Later in the show for Timor, the women were fire. They were great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But mixed tag holds even less interest to me than women's wrestling overall. And there's some amazing women's wrestlers. I don't want to put anyone down. Just not always my bag. But even, I have a hard time being interested in mixed tag rules. And if there's going to be belts for this, I am not interested whatsoever. But Jeremy, you had pointed to this, that Sam had said, Tom Latimer's about feuding with Fodder.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably the case. I think, if Fodder's an EC3 guy, I believe that they're all part of that same workout group of friends, right?
Yeah.
That they're always posting Aldis and Latimer and everything around the gym as, they lift 1 million pounds in the air. So maybe that's the connection there, just wanting to work with someone he likes. What did you think of this, and what hopes have you got for it?
From the moment that Kyle started saying that they weren't going to be there, I immediately was pulled out of it, because it just, again, they're not going to be here my ass. Why bring him out then at all? You'd already said card subject to change and stuff, so why even bring Tom and Camille out? And I feel bad saying this, but Tom kept telegraphing it. He kept looking over his shoulder and stuff. You know, it gave a clear picture, like Dave said, of who's going to be going after these mixed tag titles that have been mentioned. But I'm like you, I'm not a fan of that. I don't watch wrestling to watch a man and a woman wrestle. I watch wrestling to watch a man and a man wrestle, or a woman and a woman wrestle.
Yeah.
I want to see even competition, or at least some evenness. You know,
DGM notes, and I sort of sent this to you last night, Dave. AAA has those mixed tag belts, and we're looking at NWA versus AAA in March. That could play into there as well. I think Dodie and I are on the same page as well. I'm never really a fan of women's wrestling before, but NWA has provided a hot women's division since Powerrr day one, and that changed. Yeah, it's better here than it is almost anywhere else. But mixed tag and intergender matches, on the other hand, no.
I'm not a fan of that, and I like women's wrestling. I like men's wrestling, but I don't want to see those two lines crossed. It doesn't appeal to me in any way, unless you were to take a situation like a Max the Impaler or Camille versus somebody like Rolando or Alex Taylor. Somebody where it's just a size disparity, and the guy's going to end up getting mopping the floor.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I guess it is what it is, as the sign above my desk says at work.
Yep.
And we move on to kind of the main event, although there is something that happens after this. The Team War Finals. And I'm going to go through this quickly. I want the in-depth, to tomorrow night to get into it all. But you got Team Rock and Roll with the Mortons, Maddie, La Rosa Negra, Ty Valkyrie, Mims, Taylor, Adonis, and Draper.
Yeah.
Versus Team Tyrus, who's Silas Mason, Carnage, Trevor Murdoch, EC3, Samantha Starr. You got Tyrus and G's, and Rolando as an alternate, and Robin Renegade. So in this particular match, which Dodie correctly says, this was hot.
Yes.
I am not a fan. I don't think any of us were a fan of the whole Team War stuff. Out of all the Team Wars, this was hands down the best one. The women start this off, all of them. They just go at it right from the get-go, all six of them in the ring. Allison Kay, she and Negra are really aggressive when everybody sort of clears out and they're the first two to stop. You see Allison Kay tap out to La Rosa Negra's submission hold. Then you get Negra versus Robin. And Negra taps out to a bunch of rib blows. Kind of cool. She's got her locked in, and she's just booming in there and rolling. Oh, that's it. Right. Yep. That's it for me. That was kind of neat. Enjoyed it.
Well, and it played off of, like they brought up on commentary, it played off the ribs that were injured by Taya Valkyrie earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And you don't see enough of those. Like you're trapped up, and then they just give up. Like, oh, that's plausible to me. So Maddie's got she's in against Robin. She pins her after the reality check. Star comes in against Maddie. She pins her after the DDT. So it's back and forth, back and forth. Taya's in, Road to Valkyrie on Samantha Star for the pin. But Taya's the last woman standing at this point. And coaches were supposed to be picking who's going in. And she just points at Carnage. And she's like, let's go. So Carnage from Blunt Force Trauma is kind of like, okay. He gets in. Ty gets distracted. He tosses her over the top rope. And she's out on the floor going, It was kind of a cool look on her face,
Yeah.
like, all right, that was pretty cool. So all the women are gone. Mims is in. Carnage pins him quick. That was a sad part for me. That Mims just goes down in like, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes. He calls in Carnage Adonis. Adonis pins him with a spine buster. I thought Carnage looked really strong. And there's it's 3-3, I believe, at this point left. But I'm going to take a quick break because this will come up. Trevor Murdoch says, played tweener last night attacking Adonis. We'll get to this. Dak Draper and Silas, the man. Trevor doesn't really play tweener, just doing payback for past revenge. Yeah, he's got that whole I'm a badass thing going on. But what happens there is we get Adonis versus Murdoch. Murdoch is tossed over the top, and then he beats the crap out of Adonis outside. He just kind of loses it. It's ring post, it's stairs, and the whole bit. What happens then? Thrillbilly is in, and he pins Adonis. I guess it's Adonis. I'm trying to remember now with the thrill ride. It was crazy. Just and just I don't know if you counted them or not, Dave, but like you did last time. But that was a hell of a thrill ride that time. And then so after he's out, there is a Thrillbilly. He calls out Taylor, gives him another thrill ride. Alex Taylor looked pretty decent in this whole thing as well. A lot of action. They really kept it going for this whole thing. I know the quick pins are kind of a pain in the butt, but that's the name of the game. So only Dak Draper is left for Team Rock and Roll. He avoids elimination over the top rope, not once, not twice, not 3 times. He also avoids elimination from pin. He spins out of the thrill ride and pins Thrillbilly with it. And it ends up going down to 1-on-1 as EC3 comes in and keeps trying to throw him over the top rope, as I mentioned. It doesn't take as he hangs on. EC3 hits his finisher on him. It looks like he's going to, and he does hit it rather, and then EC3 slides out to yell at Ricky, giving Dak some time to recover. Dak makes a comeback, and at the end of this thing, Dak Draper rolls up EC3 out of nowhere, and Team Rock and Roll wins.
Yeah.
It was exciting. Jeremy, it was like I'm watching this thing on TV going, I thought this was a great way to cap this thing off. I was like, oh, the wedding comes now? I wish they'd done it before.
I was like you. I enjoyed this was the best team war thus far that we've had. It was fast paced. All the talent were more than capable and deserved to be in there. They didn't have any weak links, it felt. Even with Rolando as an alternative, he's pinned Matt Cardona a couple of times. So, in the scope of things, he's a capable individual. That said, though, you brought up the Trevor and Adonis, and I'm hoping that ends up building up into something again, because right before Trevor got in the ring, he was sitting there flipping the bird to Adonis in the ring.
Right.
And then he got in. I would have liked for Thrillbilly to have won it, but that would have constituted Tyrus winning, and fuck that guy.
He looked really strong though, Thrillbilly.
He did. They made him look like $1 million, so he's not devalued or anything, I don't feel, but I really dig the Thrillbillies. So
same. Dave, my favorite part of this, watching it, was, they played up the strategy of like, the coaches and their assistants are going to pick people to go in, and whoever was in the ring had either tossed someone out or pinned them, just started pointing. You know,
Yep.
like I want you, and then that guy'd come in and someone would get thrown out. I want you, to whoever's on the outside. And it just looked like emotions were running wild, and it sold really well. I
did.
bought into it as a fan. How did it look for you?
I did like it. It's one of these things. The winning team is going to be able to go after the gold,
Right.
Yeah.
but the losing team, they're setting up possible rivalries
Mm-hmm.
that some stayed in the ring longer than others, but they're all as a team. They fought together. Now that they're no longer a team, they're fighting for themselves.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, it's one of these things of maybe there's inner fighting within the team itself for who goes after these titles of the winning team. I mean, does Blunt Force Trauma, does he go after the tag with his partner, or does someone else speak up first and grab another person as their tag team partner?
Right.
I mean, I was there live and I didn't hear everything that was said. I'm going to have to rewatch it. But I did notice that Trevor and EC3 were a little buddy type.
Yeah.
So who knows? If they're not doing a storyline or going after somebody, hey, why not tag them up?
Or
It gives them something to do.
or like I remember Jeremy and I were popping at the not a couple of weeks ago, more than that now, but when leading up to that, this on the last Team War thing, Thrillbilly sitting on the side of the ring with EC3 going around him, and he's like, "I love you too, but you're a beautiful man."
Yep.
Can you imagine EC3, Thrillbilly, and I think somebody might have said this a few weeks ago. Those two guys and Trevor Murdoch is a bunch of badasses in their own faction. Ooh,
Well, and
that's what we
James
wanna
Bell,
Yeah.
James Bell makes a comment that is intriguing as well, and leads some credence to we could possibly see that.
I did not see this. He says, "Did y'all see the video where EC3 was questioned about losing on purpose? Trevor went off on the guy, and EC3 walked away saying something like lose on purpose. Did I? I did not see that. And that's
I
very
haven't seen it either, so I will seek it out when we're done. But that would be very EC3 ish.
and to Dave's point, can always kind of mix it up. But right now we got, correct me if I'm wrong about any of these names, you got Ricky and Kerry who get title shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get Maddie and La Rosa Negra who get title shots, yeah.
Yeah.
And also for the women, Taya Valkyrie. So, and then you got Mims and Alex Taylor and
Draper
and Chris Adonis, right?
Yeah.
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 That's
a murderer's row right there.
It is. So that's pretty interesting. It was really fun overall, and I it put a nice punchy ending onto this show, which was, if it was B plus or B minus or whatever it was, like leading into that, it seemed positive, A minus, whatever you want to call it. This really seemed to elevate it. Then we go right to the wedding, guys. We go to the wedding. The quarterly invited to the Aron Stevens May Valentine wedding, everybody. There's various people up on the stage, which has been decked out all night. Aron's out. Best part of this for me, Aron's out with Blunt Force Trauma as his groomsmen. They've got top hats and they've got carnations taped to their chests.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
They're just like, May's out with a friend of hers, or her friend Kara, as her maid of honor. And Sam Timo Sam Timo is out. He wants you to know right off the bat, he's not anyone else. But
Nobody
Sam
else.
Timo.
Yes. Judge Sam Timo, damn
That's
it.
right. So there's all these comments as they go along. Congratulations to you. You'll always be waking up with the same person, Aron. He expresses how much he likes May. Like, you got a Brazilian. I mean, look at her. Look at you. I mean, it's amazing. But they put a few times, there's some comments where like Aron's like, the rest of my life, eh? Aron reads some really bad poetry from his vows. The crowd
So bad it was good.
So bad it was good. But the crowd starts doing the what chant that they only really do when something is boring AF, guys.
Yep.
They just get on with it. Because this has been several minutes at this point. May expresses her love to Aron for her part in this particular shit and brings up the rest of my life. Overall, the rest of my life, again and again. And Aron's like, oh, he's got he takes Sam's pocket poof out and wipes his head. Scooby and Pollo both object when it comes up about who objects to this. When does anyone object? And Dave, you're yelling in the crowd right now, right? Like, you object strenuously.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, don't do it. No, come on, May.
Yeah, but Pollo Del Mar, friend of the show, objects, comes right up and says, I object to this because you're my friend, May. He doesn't love you, and you're gonna get hurt. And May's like, thanks, get out of here now. Anybody else? Timo says. Chris Silvio, who is just a treasure chest of charisma and ideas, as far as I'm concerned, comes out, and he objects on the grounds that Jack Stame, the greatest heavyweight attraction in the world today, is not headlining this show.
Oh, man. Just straight facts.
Anybody else, he says he wants to object. Well, Mercurio walks over from where he's standing on the side, and he objects basically because he says Aron's feet smell really bad. If you've been in a locker room with him, they're terrible. Also, he's not Italian. And as he's naming these ridiculous reasons, Natalia Markova comes over and sort of leans on Mercurio and says, look, I object on the grounds that everyone can see that he doesn't love you. And, while she's talking about like how it's so important, love is so special. I don't know if you guys noticed it, because it seemed like it was supposed to happen. She keeps looking at Mercurio. And, we know they're friends and outside the ring. I believe they're starting a school together, but I could be wrong. I saw something about that online. Anyway, what happens in this is that the marriage certificate that Aron Stevens got online is wrong, because May is not an American citizen. She is a permanent resident, and they can get married, but you have the wrong form, Judge Sam Timo says. And he can't marry them today. And I'm thinking, well, you could probably still have the ceremony and just go get the right one directly afterwards. And, but anyway, wrestling.
Yeah.
But they can't get it today. May freaks out. Her family's come all the way from Brazil. How could you screw this up, Aron? He's like, baby, forgive me. I didn't do it on purpose. She throws shit at Aron, and she destroys the gift table. She wrecks the cake. And then she takes a champagne bottle and she smacks damage with it. I'm sure that it's a what do you call those breakaway glass bottles?
Sugar glass.
Sugar glass. Thank you. I thought, and one of you guys might have said this, Aron should have taken that shot with the bottle. But anyway, she's dragged away by Pollo, and I do not know if this was intentional or not, but it's a part that actually made me laugh in this event. Was Pollo falls over when she's backing up, and you can hear her go, ah!
Just completely distressed.
Yeah, it looked hilarious.
Yeah.
It made me laugh very hard, but overall, I think, Jeremy, I'll go to you first and let Dave anchor this particular one. But you gave me this in order to play at this moment for your opinion of this segment. A giant flaming pile of poop.
Jurassic Park sized.
Jurassic Park size. Your thoughts beyond fiery dung?
Oh, I'll start with the good that I liked on this. Santimo, to answer, I believe it was Doty's question. I would not mind seeing Santino in an NWA ring. He was a goofy gaga kind of guy that it worked for him, and he worked it into his matches, and it to me anyways, it didn't devalue the match any, because that was who he was. He had been presented like that always. And I just always loved the way that he said Jantina. It always made me smile.
Yeah.
Pollo coming up to her friend's rescue was great. The marriage was funny, and Chris Silvio coming up and just speaking pure facts. It was a complete and utter travesty that the greatest heavyweight champion of the modern era of NWA was not included in the show. It true travesty of justice.
How much is Jack Dane paying you and Jay Cal to say this stuff? Like I like
Oh,
Chris
not a
Silvio
damn
more than I
thing.
like.
It's pure fear. It's pure fear.
That's fair. I like Chris Silvio better than I do Jack Dane, though. But anyway, that's just me.
Oh no, I'm a huge Jack Stain fan, but I only say these things out of pure fear. He pays me nothing. I get a DM every once in a while of him just glaring at me.
Well,
So
if you were here, I would change my tune. So
yeah. The bad was bad. Yeah, this was like almost 20 minutes long. It
was a buster clock.
Yeah, it was gaga.
Yeah,
it was the most gaga that I've seen in a little while.
Right.
That's
maybe the less said, the better. But Dave, you were there. You did experience it. You did object. You get the last word on this show. Your thoughts?
It's one of these things of, we're having a wedding at a wrestling match. Okay, what do you think's going to happen?
right.
It's one of these things that it's so cliche. If they wouldn't have done any of it, I think people would have been amazed.
Yeah.
I was going to stop smoking weed if they didn't do anything.
It's one of these things of, you know what's going to happen, you just don't know when. You know they're going to do this. Somebody's going to object. Somebody's going to throw a drink. Somebody's going to get smushed with a cake.
Just like a wedding with my family, but carry on.
But I mean, it's one of these. I mean, when they went to set up, they're setting it up, and I'm looking that they had, I'd say, at least 10, maybe 15 people on the staging area standing there as, I guess, friends and family of the bride and groom. Some of them you recognize. There were other people that I had no clue, and I had to take a picture and figure out who it was. One of them, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dylan McQueen. He was there. A lot of the people that were brought in were family and friends of either Aron or some of the producers.
Okay.
Okay.
That some of them have connection with the Jacobs Pritchard Wrestling Academy.
Yeah.
I just ordered a shirt.
And it's one of those things that it didn't need to be explained, but maybe they could have said, "Oh, hey, some of my friends showed up," and maybe name off some names that if you're not familiar with who they are, you could have
Bobby
seen.
Fulton was up on the stage. Someone could have gone, hey, here are the guests, and named them all off, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But it's just one of these things of you knew it was going to happen. I would have rather had it happen quicker.
Yeah.
If it's going to be Gaga, cut out as much Gaga as you can. There's going to be funny parts.
Yeah.
I mean, like when Blunt Force Drama came out, and they had the flower taped to them. Like, I just started laughing. It's funny, but it's not. And they're showing no emotion. They're just, we're walking out and we have top hats on and we have a mask and this, and I'm just like, man, to not break character.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
that
we
was
might have
just-
been smiling under the mask, but yeah.
Yeah, that was just so great. But I do want to point out earlier in the day, Santimo was out talking with some of the wrestlers and all this, and he was in character all the time.
Oh yeah.
If there's somebody that is not a wrestler, I mean, it was me and maybe 3 or 4 other people, and then everybody else either had something to do with the NWA, was a merch person, something. He had his Santino talk down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I look over and I go, so are we going to have fun tonight? And he's like, you betcha. And I'm like, is there going to be maybe a Cobra involved? And he goes, copywritten, I wish.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking to myself, imagine if all of a sudden he's talking, he sets the mic down, pulls out, puts it up, and he goes, May Valentine, do you take, and he's mouthing everything that he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that would have been good.
Great.
But it's one of these things of they made the best of what they could.
Yeah.
You almost expect stupid stuff to happen.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Friday the 13th movie or a Scream movie. You know what's going to happen. There's going to be screaming teenagers. Somebody's going to get stabbed, shot, something.
Somebody's going to fall down running away, and there's nothing.
You just don't know when, how far in they're going to make you wait to see that.
Yep.
That it could have been cut down, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
Was what it was. Overall, the show was solid, as DK said earlier, and I thought it was good. I liked your evaluation of 7 or 8 out of 10 for a Powerrr. It was. I think part of it was just I starved for wrestling, so I was happy to see it as well. Sam says, "Is Damage Rodney Mack?" I have no. I don't know what you mean. I haven't seen Rodney Mack in a long time. He's a Red Dog. Damage is somebody else. Has Gags been released? James Bell says, and not to my knowledge.
I think he got into an astronaut program.
Oh,
I think Gags got into an astronaut program.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. And we talked about May at the beginning of the show. Yeah, on the cover of Playboy.
Yeah,
she's very excited about it. Good congratulations to May. We got to move it along, guys. Good show. Lots of fun. Look forward to. I'm hoping USA is this Saturday. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I hope so.
I believe. I mean, they did some of the tapings, and the logo was up.
Okay.
So
good deal.
Great. Well,
fast turnaround.
I don't know. I mean, it was good for what it was. The wrestling I enjoyed, the talking segments.
Yeah.
Put up with, but it's one of these things of with no wrestling for 3 to 4 weeks. This was welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Very.
It
I
was.
was there live. I haven't watched it. I'm planning on watching it later tonight, just so I can hear, because being there live, it's a lot different because you're not hearing the commentary.
Yeah.
They're explaining a story of what may be happening on stage or in the ring, and you're just sort of like, oh, hey, look, they're having a wedding up on stage. Well, they may have said, oh, we have some distinguished guests here tonight and mentioned a couple names, but if you're not actually watching it,
Right.
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Different experience. Yeah. Just Sam says USA's on Saturday. They said that last night. That's good. Let's move into championship wrestling from Jeremy from the United Wrestling Network. We had some fun, and
Yeah.
take this opportunity right off the top to say I got to catch up on what the excitement is around Memphis wrestling and the Grind City Rumble. I waited I was just excited for it from the last couple of episodes I'd seen. It came around, and I thought it was good. This is the time, is my point, to get into right now into the United Wrestling Network.
Yep.
If you're looking at a spot, well, I don't want to jump in on feuds or anything. Now is the time. This is kind of when they reset.
Yep, this is their WrestleMania time where they end old stories and begin new storylines at the Grind City Rumble and the Red Carpet Rumble.
Yeah, walk us through it.
Yeah. With the Grind City Rumble, that Memphis this week was the entire episode was the Grind City Rumble. We started out with main event Bradley Skimmerhorn as number 1 and Tim Bosby, the Memphis Internet Champion, as number 2. The entrants were pretty rapid fire. I think there was maybe a minute and a half in between each entrant. We got Kid Wrestling at number 3, Big Jack at number 4, Jason Genesis with Goddess at number 5, Reverend Ash Taylor is number 6, Ryan Brembrandt is 7, Lamont of the LA Hustlers is number 8, Jennifer Justice is number 9, and then Big Swole Justin Cole comes out at number 10. Now, whenever Big Swole Justin Cole comes out, business picks up a little bit. He immediately eliminates Reverend Ash, Jason Genesis, Ryan Rembrandt, Big Jack, Kid Wrestling, and the Hot Shots, who came out at number 11 and immediately got thrown out both at the same time. Then
he's your Lesnar.
Yeah.
He's Lesnar at the Rumble for Memphis. Yeah.
He then eliminates Jennifer Justice, immediately after throwing out the Hot Shots, main event Bradley comes back into the ring where he had been hiding behind the ring posts and such, and eliminates Big Swole and then Jennifer Justice. Ray Sanders comes out at number 12, but the posse also come out to attack him.
It was funny because 1 and 2, main event Bradley and what's his name, the internet champion,
Tim Bosby.
They were like right off the bat. They're like, "Hey, you want to just team up and go?" They're like, "Great!" And they stood there until number 3 came out, and it was great. I enjoyed main event Bradley in this event.
Yeah. He's growing on me in that character. It's working out very well for him, and the way that they're booking him and stuff, so it's playing out very well for him. Derek the King comes out at number 13 to even up the odds for him and Ray against the posse, who, by the way, were not part of the Red Card or the Grind City Rumble. They just came out to attack Ray.
Yep.
Because posse's going to do what the posse's going to do.
Right.
Ray, after they toss out Big Chris and Simon, Ray climbs up on the top turnbuckle and dives out and essentially eliminates himself, but gets a little bit of retribution on the posse. Uncle Mikey is number 14. Van Vicious is number 15.
Very disappointed in the efforts of the posse this week. Just Vengeance will be ours.
Yeah. Adamas Vane is number 17. Colton Cage is number 18. Geo Savage is 19. Then Adamas Van Vicious, and Colton Cage and Uncle Mikey all get eliminated by K Toomer, who is number 20. Aaron Roberts comes in at number 21. Nix is number 22, and Gio and Austin Lane are eliminated. Ray Collins is number 23 and gets eliminated immediately by K Toomer.
Yeah, K Toomer.
Ring.
Yeah, K Toomer. If you're not a UWN, I'm just starting, but he's the favorite to win this thing. He's the crowd favorite. This guy is, I'm going to say, 400 pounds.
387 pounds.
387 pounds. Moves like a cat.
Steady though.
He's twice as thick as like Jacob Fatu, but like he's doing enziguris in this thing. He
nailed Moose with one later on in the match that was just out of nowhere and pretty.
Yeah.
You know. We then let's see. Oh, Storybook Prince Gaston is number 24.
Get rid of that guy. That's the worst gimmick ever.
He is so ridiculously hilarious, man. He came out with his little book and everything, and it's like, bro, seriously. Mackenzie Morgan is number 25, and then Bradley of the LA Hustlers is number 26, which was kind of weird because the Hot Shots came in at number 11. Two of the Hot Shots came in at number 11, but then you had the LA Hustlers who were split up, kind of, you know. So I kind of was a little confused on the order of how they bring them in and stuff,
right?
But overall, it was still a lot of fun to watch. Mm-hmm. At number 27, Maurice, I can't whistle. I was going to do the whole, some people call me Maurice. Maurice Strong, which I'm thinking he was one of the guys involved with Dysfunction, and he's been repackaged. But he came out with Barnabas the Leader.
Right.
And that guy was pretty cool looking. He screams, I'm involved in wrestling somehow. I feel he definitely passes the airport test whenever he goes through.
Right.
You know. But they're like I said, I think the Maurice the Strong has been repackaged. I believe he was with Dysfunction before. But this is our first time seeing him as Maurice the Strong, and it's our first introduction to Barnabas the Leader, and I was intrigued by them. That's an interesting little thing. I want to see where that goes. Then we get Bulletproof Bruce at number 28, Matt Williams at 29. He eliminates Mackenzie Morgan, and then Moose is number 30. Moose comes in, him and K Toomer trade a little bit. I'm hoping that they build up and we get to see a match between him and the problem child, Aaron Roberts, because Aaron Roberts was the man to eliminate the beast that is Moose, which was interesting, especially after he had, I think it was a week or two back, had cut the promo and calling out Moose specifically in that promo. So I'm hoping that we get to see something come from that. From there, people start getting eliminated, and then we end up, and it's down to Derek the King and K Toomer. And Derek the King is one of the coaches at the Russell Center. He's a seasoned vet and has gotten a good solid push this past year throughout the year. And so I feel that those were a good last two to end on. but at the end of it, the master of fat jitsu, Mr. Show Nuff, K Toomer, the baddest mofo low down on this town, is your Grind City Rumble winner and now has an opportunity at the Memphis Heritage Championship.
Yep. Yeah. There was a bit you can see on YouTube after the show ended where the gun show came out, and because now he'll get his shot at the gun show title, and they gave each other the mutual respect. That was it. K Tuber thanked the crowd.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought that was great. It was nice to see. Nice to see that. The only thing about this, I thought, Derek King as the last guy was. I thought it would have been great if it had been Justin Roberts, the problem child.
Aaron Roberts.
Aaron Roberts, sorry.
Yeah.
Just in case, that's right. And I thought that it would have been him or Moose, because there was a couple of times when K Toomer and Moose were chest to chest and circling each other, and that's what I really wanted to see. They
had their little shoulder bump contest with each other, and Moose couldn't move.
Yeah.
K Toomer couldn't knock down Moose, but he moved him back a step or two.
Yeah.
The insecurity that he delivered on Moose was just ridiculously out of nowhere. The guy is insanely agile. He reminds me a lot of Rikishi.
Right.
And the way that and the agility that he has, it comes out of nowhere. And if you've never seen him before, it's completely unexpected and it just blows you away.
Yeah. Fun, and as I say, if you're getting into this show, this is the place to start.
Yeah, definitely. We then go to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and the Road to the Red Carpet Rumble. We start out with Clark Connors and Jacob Austin Young. These are two guys that I hadn't seen before, so I wasn't familiar with them, but I liked what they did. They put on a good, solid match. At the end, Connors comes out on top and wins. I'm hoping to see more of these guys moving forward. Like we said, this is UWN's reset button for the year, so we're going to see new faces coming in, and these two will be a welcome addition to the Hollywood roster for sure.
Right.
We then go into a tag title match between Reno Scum, the champions, and Midnight Heat. And I've said it before on here. I love Reno Scum. I like Midnight Heat.
Yeah.
And I love beef candy. So this is one that I wasn't upset. I wasn't going to be upset by any means if Reno Scum walked out. And I wasn't going to be upset if Midnight Heat got the titles and walked out. And both teams put on a tag team match clinic on how to effectively do a tag match. And just a lot of good spots, a lot of good tag team spots. And I'm a sucker for that. But in the end, and new UWN tag team champions, the Midnight Heat, Precious Eddie Pearl and Rockin' Ricky Gibson.
Yeah.
I couldn't be mad at it. Like I said, I love the teams. I love the tag teams in the UWN. They've got, for me right now, dollar for dollar, the best value going on the tag market. So I wasn't upset with it. They put on, I think it went about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was solid. Yeah.
Good solid lengthy match. A lot of good spots in it. So kudos to all four of the men that were involved in that. And it was nice to see the Midnight Heat recover after losing their little Guy Tweakazetti, who's now Guy Cool. They found their mojo again. So I'm excited to see what they do. Right. Then we got Danielle Camella, and I meant to look her up, because I believe she was formerly in NXT for a while, but I couldn't remember her name and I forgot to look her up. But she went up against Zeta Zhang. This was another one that was really good. This is the first time seeing the Danielle Kamela chick, so that was she's solid. She's a really good talent. And Zeta Zhang is a certifiable badass.
Yeah, and the one of them was a stand-in, I believe, for this match. It was originally billed as something else, but anyway, carry on.
But this match was solid. In the end, though, Zeta Zhang ended up taking the win. Again, the Danielle Kamala is another welcome addition to the roster, and I'm excited to see what she does moving forward. Like I said, I forgot to look up who she was in NXT, but she was in NXT and she was promising there. I don't remember what happened to her though. Then we get a segment with Pretty Peter Avalon, who has changed up his look a little bit and looks. I mean, at first I didn't recognize him. He looks almost completely different in a good way, and I mean that in a good way. He looks like a main event type of guy, you know. Then we got a segment with Johnny LaQuasto and Danny Limelight came out, but at that moment I had my granddaughter in my lap and she distracted me, so I didn't. I feel bad because I didn't pay attention to it and I didn't go back, but it was my granddaughter. You guys.
Danny Limelight just said, you're trying to screw me over with these different challengers, but I don't care. Bring him. I'll take them all on. That was
awesome. We then go to the match, the main event of the night, BHK, Kevin Martinson against Davey Richards. And to say that Fodder looks like Davey Richards, Angelina Love has a type, I'm just saying.
Yeah. They could be brothers.
Yeah, they could. This was a clinic. I mean, just flat out a clinic. BHK is so inventive and just versatile, and Davey Richards is he's the American Wolf. I just electric in the ring, and these two men put on a clinic. It was a solid match. Go back and watch it if you haven't. And BHK ends up retaining his title, which I knew was going to happen because Davey's carrying the open weight title right now, for MLW. But it was nice to see that they're bringing in some outside talent to challenge their champions still, and to give them that rub. Davey Richards is no slouch, and he made Kevin Martinson look like $1 million, I feel. So
he did. What does BHK stand for? Do you even know?
I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
I don't know. Do you know, Dave?
Big Hunky Kevin.
Can I just say this once? I'm sorry I asked.
And that's why I was afraid to find out.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Anyway, hell of a match. Good wrestler on both sides. Yeah. Good wrestling. All right. That's awesome. So the second half of Red Carpet Rumble, or maybe there's 3. I don't know.
I think there's 3. I think we get 2 more, and then we get the Red Carpet Rumble, I believe. But I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. All right. That's great. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yep.
That is awesome. Let's look at the comments here. 38,000 views on Live Power last night, James Bell says. What is this? I tried to download fodder for my NWA universe on WWE 2K22. I couldn't find him, but I signed him down, and it's Davey Richards. It was an exact match.
Yes.
There you go. Lou, I want the NWA World Junior title on Richard someday. He's my idea of what type of wrestler should hold that belt. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, no broken heart kid. That'd be BHK. Yeah, maybe. I think he's just Sam was I think guessing what it was. Big Hunky Kevin, however. God.
I like Big Hunky Kevin. It just sounds corny.
There you go. Well, let's go over to our friend, the doctor of fantasy booking, the professor. We'll have to come up with an official title for you, Dave. In a segment that we call I Respect You, Booker Man. We got to get one of those for you, Jeremy. We got a little segment to open up Championship Wrestling for Jeremy. Okay. I love those things. They're cool. So, Dave, for tonight, you're asking us a question: who should wrestle at the World is a Vampire Festival, the NWA versus AAA? What do you got for us?
Well, I hate to start off with bad news, but I would not have Tyrus represent the NWA. I've grown to like Tyrus, the man, but not the wrestler. In my opinion, he would just make the NWA look bad wrestling-wise. If we're going to have a talent from the NWA fight somebody from AAA, I mean, you'd have to have somebody that would be able to work with him and make him look good. Plus, you're also talking a difference of languages that, yes, they do understand the basics, but at this point in time, Tyrus doesn't need to get in the ring when they're in Mexico.
Right.
Now I'm looking at either champion versus champion or champion versus a challenger from AAA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Camille and Taya Valkyrie have fought each other several times already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they can either go one-on-one, or being that AAA has mixed tags, you could have Tom involved with Camille going against Taya and Mr. Morrison, who is not tied down at this time.
Right.
Could you imagine? I mean, all that talent in there. Because, I mean, right now, Taya is with Impact, the NWA, and MLW.
Yep.
Johnny Alliance. Anyway, carry on.
You bring Johnny in. Johnny's with MLW, and he recently won a belt. So you have power couple versus power couple outside of their boundaries being the United States. Taya and John Morrison are both huge in Mexico.
Right.
So it's either start off as a Camille versus Taya, and they have their respected other half with them standing in their corner. And if it can't be settled one-on-one, it goes two-on-two. That builds up. I don't know if the NWA is doing the mixed tags to be involved with something in AAA, since that does take place.
Right.
Or if AAA ends up coming into the NWA, that their belts could be defended as well.
Okay.
That, I mean, you have several couples that are already couples in real life.
Yeah.
Or at least appear to be that way when on screen.
Right.
Who knows? It's one of those things of it can go several different ways, and I don't see it as any of the ways being bad. You still get wrestling. You get some names. You get some people that are already immersed in the culture of AAA down in Mexico. It keeps the story going.
Right.
Now, as much as I'm not going against Idle Sports Management and the church's money, but Scion does not need to be involved in this in any way.
No.
And you know why?
No.
His appearance. He wears a mask, but yet he is not a luchador.
Good point.
Good, very
A
good.
masked wrestler, when you think about it, masked wrestlers from the United States are either suspended, quote unquote, wrestlers that have come back to avenge something that has happened, or masked wrestlers are just that, a masked wrestler to hide their identity, but it's not the story that Lucha Libre masked wrestlers have, where they are generations.
Yep.
It's one of these things of you can throw a mask on anybody and, oh, here's Super Destroyer 72. And I mean, there's several wrestlers that back in the 90s and early 2000s would wrestle 2 or 3 matches in a night. You'd have, I mean, like I'm trying to think of his name, Del Wilkes, the Patriot.
Yeah.
When he gave up wrestling, he retired. He sold his quote unquote gimmick to another wrestler. That wrestler could then go out and say, I'll wrestle twice for you.
Mm-hmm.
You get the regular me who can win or lose. Then you get the masked man that can come in, and it's a feel-good story. But it's one of these things. Scion is a creation of the NWA and of the man behind the mask, how he used to wrestle when he did wrestle with a mask. I'm not sure if he has history down in Mexico. If the man does, that would be fine, but they would have to somehow explain to the crowd who Scion is, and that would be a bad thing. If you know who he is. If you don't, it helps you suspend your imagination.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason that a masked wrestler, in my eyes, I don't know. I don't follow lucha that much. I know of it, but I'm not strictly a fan.
Sure.
But the NWA could do it if they want to, quote unquote, storyline, get people upset that there's oh my gosh, there's a white lucha wrestler. What's this? It could work, maybe. But it all depends on what they're planning on doing. This is one that they're doing in Mexico. Then they're going to be going to Australia to do the same thing.
Right.
So they need to figure out, and they have 9 or 10 different matches. Granted, it's going to be like the territories when they go to Australia. They'll probably have the same matches and probably 75% of the same outcomes, but because they're in different areas, unless you're a true fan of the band or the wrestlers, you may not go to more than 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But getting back to AAA, the AAA belts are vacant.
The mixed tag belts?
No,
Oh, the tag belts. Yes, that's
the
right.
tag belts.
Yeah.
That's right.
You could have La Rebellion come in and battle for the belts. And in doing so, Damien 666, their manager, could do his, oh, guess what I'm going to do to help us win? Well, he goes to spit the mist and it flips on him. Now, the team that held the AAA tag belts before dropping them is FTR.
Right.
When they dropped them to Dragon Lee, and I'm not sure who his tag partner was, but Dragon Lee had just been signed by the WWE.
Right.
So those belts are now vacant. FTR has basically asked for time off unless they're brought back to ROH to win those belts, being that the Briscoes and what happened with Jay.
Right.
One way or another, I think FTR is going to get into a NWA ring, whether it's down in Mexico or at a Crockett Cup. But this could continue the story. There doesn't have to be a winner, that if FTR shows up as one of the last teams to hold it, they could go against La Rebellion, and then they end up meeting at the Crockett Cup down the line. So it's all storyline driven. These are things that could happen. Now, what you were talking about, Tim, was the mixed tag. It doesn't have to be. AAA does have a mixed tag belt, and they have teams. Well, this is going to be part of the Smashing Pumpkins tour. And if you know what goes on at the concerts, Billy has added wrestling to some of his shows. And it's Mercurio and Natalia Markova. They're already a team.
Right.
They don't have to fight each other. You could use them. They're currently on tour. Why not make them work twice?
Yeah.
In Mexico, it could work. They may end up going to Australia and have another team, so every other event that they're switching off. But all these, the NWA has to figure out a way to mesh with whoever they're working with, whether it be AAA or the Australians. You're not going to be losing a belt unless they do like the territories would do. They lose it on Friday and then win it back Saturday.
Yeah, I could see the mixed tag belts going with the NWA for a while, though, in the way that the AAA tag belts went with FTR over to AEW for a long time.
And last but not least, Kerry Morton has already stated that he has obligations with his college. And him being a cheerleader, he will not be able to make the event as the junior heavyweight champion if he still has it. Granted, it's coming up next month, so we have about 30 days or so. But being that Kerry Morton is not there, Joe Alonzo, who just got signed, is talking all the talk. Have him as a representative. Laredo Kid is a cruiserweight champion over in AAA.
Laredo Kid. There you go, Willie.
Nice.
Imagine that. It doesn't have to be a win or a loss for either of them. It could just be a challenge.
Right.
That Laredo Kid's out there saying, "Hey, your champion didn't make it," and then all of a sudden, Alonzo shows up and goes, "Well, I may not be the champion, but I'm willing to fight you for your belt," then it's, well, I'm not putting the belt on the line unless you beat me. If you beat me this match, then we'll have a match for the title.
Right.
That sets up whether AAA works with NWA and sends several people or one person over. It's a pay-per-view match right there. If he wins, he wins. It may be by hook or crook because Laredo Kid is the good guy and Joe Alonzo, he'll do whatever it takes to win.
I think that's a great idea. Rick is here. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
So you have what, 1, 2, 3, you have 3, possibly 4 matches. If each one of them goes 12 to 15 minutes with entrance and them working the crowd, there's an hour right there.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So it depends on how much they're wanting to push the belts or just the NWA versus AAA. They could do all these matches and none of them need to be for a title. It could be, if I defeat the champion, I then get a rematch for the title.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way to keep the relationship going. Because if you lose, there's no more story to tell.
Right. Some amazing ideas there, Dave.
Yeah.
I have I'm not going to do it tonight because we're already the 2-hour mark, but maybe next week we'll talk about an idea that I want to give to the NWA or the UWN for that matter. It's never been done before, and I think that it would be amazing. But anyway, do you have some good thoughts there? Hey, I had forgotten to put something up earlier, and I wanted to do so. Rick Del Santo's arrival just reminded me. Rick has a podcast, Pro Wrestle Zone, and
Yes.
Rick, I'm going to play something very quickly for everyone right now, and maybe Rick, you could put your link right in the chat. That would be great.
PWZ Podcast with Rick Del Santo. For all your wrestling reviews, interviews, and news, Rick covers the United Wrestling Network, the NWA, and the Northeast region of the United States independent scene. PWZ keeps you in the zone.
Friend of the show, fellow podcast. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Fellow podcaster. We got to do one with Jay for us, and maybe we can get DK and whatever black spot Jaden has over his face, so to give one to send back to Rick. But I encourage you guys to watch the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast. He does a lot of interviews with independent talent, especially recently, and they're very interesting. And Rick's been doing this for quite a while, so it's been great. Dave, just to finish up your segment here, there were a few comments that I wanted to share. Talking about Tyrus, Sam is pretty vocal about saying Tyrus would be an embarrassment to the NWA as a representation of world champion. Yeah, I think your point was essentially that he's not needed down there for this event. And what belt has he won? The middleweight. I'm not sure who that was about. Sam, please forgive me. Were we talking who you were talking about? And I'll put it back up if you want to say something. Lou says Mexico will love Pollo and the Thrill Billy. and points out the first masked wrestler in Mexico was an American. I did not know this. You were talking about that booking for the tag matches. Sam says is a bit stupid with putting that belt on Dragon Lee when FTR was leaving. I think that probably it was just FTR, wanted to go and not be on AEW TV for a while, and they maybe this was the best way for them to take it back. Oh, he has to leave, and now it's vacated, and they can do something with it. So that it might be fortuitous that this happened. Listen, that's essentially going to do it for us. I wanted to point out that we did have a winner, and I haven't put this on social media yet. We did have a winner of the belt. It's currently getting bubble wrapped at my office right now to be shipped out. There were 3 people who picked, Alliance Gold as a name. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think Lou was one of them. However, there was one who did it first. And as I mentioned when I first put the contest up, the person who does it first is, the winner. And that is Kevin Court. Kevin is, for full disclosure, a friend of mine for the last 10 years or so. I haven't seen him in years, but I know Kevin fairly well from the wrestling world. And he's the first of someone that I think I've ever known in person to win something. So that's kind of exciting. So I will be sending him that title. I'll put that out there. There are a couple of other people as well, and I'll name them on social media who had some really cool names for different stuff that I'm going to use. So there you go. Oh, Sam was talking about Johnny Fusion. Dave, was it a middleweight title that he had? I see it was the MLW National Championship. Forgot he had that title.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I got a cool new name now, and I am. We'll just do that on our way out the door, right? Where can we find us all on Twitter, guys? How about you, Jeremy?
You can find me at HJWOTS on Twitter. I do have something in the works for my YouTube channel. I will be getting that in the can next Thursday afternoon at about 1 o'clock my time. I will be talking to an individual for an interview, and I will be posting that up on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to say who just yet, but it's not a wrestling. It's not a wrestler or a wrestling personality. It is a member of the internet wrestling community that I've known for quite some time, met through Twitter, and I've been looking forward to sitting down and talking with this person. So I've got my opportunity, and they have more than graciously said that they would be happy to do that. So it'll be about 20-25 minutes short form, but I'll be putting that in the can on Thursday, and then I'll be editing it and posting it up on Friday.
That's awesome. We had K Tumor as the image for this particular episode, the winner of the Grind City Rumble. We got to reach out to that guy.
Yep.
We're gonna have a talk with that guy, man. I would love to see you go one-on-one with well, I don't mean in the ring, but I mean across from a microphone with K Tumor. He's an exciting talent. That's great. Dave, how about you?
You can find me at Dave Scooby on Twitter and Instagram. And also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for fantasy booking, whether it be the current NWA or the current UWN, or your favorite independent wrestling, give me some ideas. I mean, it's one of these things of, if you borrow from the past but make adjustments to current day events or what's happening in the current day, I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of songs, but there's only probably about 7 or 8 different ideas. And songs just, they figure out different ways to tell the same stories.
Yeah.
It's about emotion. It's about, I mean, however you need to put it, that's what it is. Same thing with wrestling. There's all these different ideas, but they all stem from one idea.
Right.
And that's just to entertain. That it's sports, it's entertainment. I don't think, I mean, seeing wrestling and knowing a few wrestlers, I don't think I could do what they do on drop of a hat, flip of a switch. They turn from the nicest guy to the most hated heel, or they may be a dick in real life, and then all of a sudden, boom, flip the switch. Oh, I'm under a mask. I'm Mr. Happy.
Right.
It's one of these things of wrestling is an escape, but it's also a reality.
Yep.
So if anybody has any ideas for fantasy booking, whether it be from the golden years of wrestling or current day, just, I mean, let me know. I mean, I'd rather talk about things that you're interested in than having to dig for, okay, we've talked about this. What's another way to talk about something in the NWA? We can talk any wrestling. I mean, we have the internet to do our homework on. So give me some ideas. If you have any, you can put them in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at Dave Scooby.
Fantastic. You know, I want to talk at some point, and we'll get off the air here in quick enough, but I want to talk at some point about how maybe we need to return to a time when less is more. Like, you know, I can remember honestly being in high school at some point, and my friend Jeff, who introduced me to the NWA, and I was like 13 or 14 years old, said like the Road Warriors tried to put out Dusty's eye with the spiked shoulder pads, and I was like, "What?" He's like, he might be blinded forever. We thought everything. We didn't know, right? But it was stuff like that, you know, the attack in the parking lot. And my favorite wrestling shirt, and I have so many wrestling shirts, is the most violent match of all time. That's what it says across it, right? It's a steel cage match between Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA, and it's got Magnum with the chair leg at the end of that I Quit match, with Baby Doll standing there going, "Oh my," you know, this is terrible. And like, it was the most impactful thing at the time. Now it just feels like, because of the way wrestling has become so popular and how many years it's been around, where tables are blasé, and, you know, extreme wrestling is blasé, and I feel like we need to go the other way. And I'm going to send you some stuff about fantasy booking. Maybe there's a way to fantasy book, you know, something quieter and have more impact. But we'll talk about that. I'll send you some stuff, Dave. Cool. I am now at the Alliance. I just put. Oh, that's yeah. Okay. I thought, did I put Jay's thing in there? You want to follow the Alliance at the Alliance blog.
Yep.
Jay, who has been very supportive of this name change and the similarities between, and obviously we are Alliance family, all of us. And so I am the Alliance Gold itself having been taken on all of social media now, except on Facebook. I am at the Alliance Gold on Facebook, but they won't let me change the name. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is. It's but we'll get through it. I'm sending out the belt. I've got some stuff coming up for contests, including an Alliance shirt that I got an extra one of, and you know, I've got some other cool stuff that we're gonna do. We're gonna do giveaways. We'll do it here on this show, and what else we got tomorrow night? You got the Alliance guys. You got J-Cal, you got DKM, and you got Jaden. Three of the most knowledgeable guys in the in the podcasting scene when it comes to the NWA and beyond. It's the premier show certainly for the Alliance family, and it's certainly not overshadowing Jay's solo efforts, the flagship perhaps of everything, the hour before Power, the pre-party on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Jay hosts the pre-party right before Power. Guys, we thank everybody for being here. It's enjoy your gravy cake.
That's the bearded trio.
Okay. Yeah, man. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jody. Thanks, Willie. Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Sam. I'm going to forget everybody. Thanks, James. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And until next time, we will see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.